Hello, amazing souls. Do you ever find yourself doubting that gut feeling and second guessing your every choice? Or maybe feeling disconnected from your spirit guides? If you're nodding along, you've landed in the right place. Welcome to the Soul Vibe Insights Podcast. I'm Maddie Hollingsworth.
And I'm Emily Pearl. We're all about demystifying soul energy, emotional awareness, developing your intuition, and the Akashic Records. We're here to make these powerful tools accessible on your journey of self discovery.
So pull up a chair, relax your vibe, and let's jump right into today's show. Hello, amazing souls, and welcome to today's show.
Hello, welcome.
Emily and I are excited to be with you once again, and we're going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to both of us and something that has helped our lives tremendously to grow and shift and transform from where we were to just, I feel like, quantum shifts different
Yeah.
than what I used to live with and how I used to hold myself back and keep myself down and just where I was emotionally and mentally in
Yeah,
my
we
life.
definitely used to carry a lot more anger and frustration, and this has definitely helped us regulate our nervous system some and just help our overall view on our life in general.
Absolutely. It's helped a lot with doubt, regret, shame, things like that. My overall view now, when I look back on my life, I just have such a different perspective on the things that happened and why they needed to happen.
Well, so what is it?
All right, y'all. So I got two questions for you before we jump in. Do you know the one thing in common that every relationship in your life has?
Ding, ding, ding.
It's yourself. And who is the only person you truly have any control over when it comes to affecting change or creating transformation in your life?
Ding, ding, ding.
It's yourself.
Or maybe I should have done a drum roll. Yes, I mean, if we haven't talked about it enough, you cannot help someone else change if they aren't willing to help themselves. I mean, you can't change someone else, just period.
And no one else can change you, but you can sure change yourself.
You can change yourself and change energy when it comes to someone else, but you cannot change them.
Nope. You can shift the energy, which will shift the relationship, and it may or may not be exactly what you're looking for. But doing the self work transforms you, and you start to call in that new level of self respect, of healing that you've transformed. Whatever it is, you start to call that in. So, we're going to go over 7 ways to heal your relationship with self using the Akashic Records. And this is really near and dear to us as we're gearing up to launch our first ever course teaching other people how to access the Akashic Records.
Yes, we're so excited.
Akashic Attunement, the Journey to Intuitive Mastery is what we're calling it.
Yep.
And we are so excited about it, y'all.
Yes, indeed.
All
All right, let's jump in.
I think we should jump in.
With number one.
You want to take us off?
Sure. So, the very first way that the Akashic Records can help heal your relationship with self is understanding your soul's journey. This is definitely a very powerful way that the Akashic Records helped us. Before we even learned how to read in the Akashic Records, we got our soul journey readings, and it was like mind-blowing how much it helped us just understand so many things about our life. It helped validate just a lot of things that we were going through, what we had gone through, and it helped clear up the negative energy around things like our life lessons. Like, because we definitely learned, like, you come here to learn this smorgasbord of life lessons. I mean, I say smorgasbord, but I mean, most people that we've researched had there were a couple of people that were only focused on one life lesson, but the majority of people had somewhere between 3, 4, I think maybe 7 was the most. But if you're looking into that many life lessons, if you're exploring that many life lessons in your lifetime, then you are just dabbling in a bunch of stuff, I
Well,
feel like.
and your soul mission, I mean, part of that is about learning, that you came here to intensify the soul growth and the learning, where other souls that might be more on a learning slash support, where they're here to learn but also support others in their learning and growth, may not be so intensely learning life lessons, if you will. You're going to have a little bit more well-rounded approach.
Definitely. And, some other things that are the soul journey Akashic reading helped us with, and then we in turn learned how to do it. And then we restructured it and we added some things to it to better help our clients and just things that we felt like were very important to know. We really dive in deep. We really enjoy doing this research, but some other things that you can learn and what helped us is we learned our soul's personality traits. We learned past life blocks to bring them up for healing in the now. We learned which gifts are important to focus on to create the most success in our life. And, one of the biggest things is what your soul's purpose is. But we're going to go into that in a little bit more depth in a little bit. But knowing these things really just help you understand your true self and your soul self better. And you can understand, like, okay, this is my soul and that is my personality. And sometimes those things don't always mesh super well together. And it's about really like bringing those two parts of yourself together so that you can really live a life like more in alignment with those things and bring those parts of you together.
Well, yeah, I mean, your soul or your soul's personality, that's like the most innate way you think and way of being every lifetime you come. But then we have this human conditioning on top of it, so they can be in conflict or vastly different because we get so heavily conditioned by our environment or our parents or, our friend groups or just our experience in life, that it is kind of interesting to be like, oh yeah, that is underneath me. That has been kind of innately with me throughout, kind of was a part of my life. And, now it feels like it's just tapping, trying to get through because for me personally, I buried so much shit on top of it that I felt like I wasn't connecting with that deep, innate soul part of me. And having a soul journey reading for myself, and a huge reason why I wanted to do this for other people, was to help them see the divinity within. Here's the personality of that spark, that soul, that higher self that you are. I love it. I find it wildly fascinating.
For sure. One of the things that I found really fascinating about one of Michael Newton's books, I can't remember which one, was he said one of the biggest, one of the craziest things you can basically do to yourself is be this really advanced soul and then come into a body that has a very disrupted brain chemistry. Basically a very advanced soul going into a body that has a lot of mental illness, maybe some sort of really disrupted brain wiring. I just felt that was so crazy. I mean, he talked about, the people that you see screaming on the sidewalk. We actually just kind of ran into this the other day on the grocery. There were these two men screaming at each other, and it was very clear that they were not fully present with themselves in the now. I'm just saying that as an example, but that was something that Michael Newton brought up that I thought was very fascinating and interesting.
Well, part of the plan that the soul makes for the potential possibilities and what you want to experience. And then he even talked about, and I've experienced this myself, doing an in-between lifetimes regression session with Scott, who was trained by Dr. Newton, but going in at around 4 months and checking in with the body that's in your mother's womb and being like, yep, okay, yep. This seems right. This seems like the plan's, just like I wanted it. The brain wiring is the way I wanted it. Okay, and then you kind of can take off or stay around. But the soul comes in and checks to make sure that the body being built was what the soul thought, because if it's not, sometimes that's where a miscarriage might happen. It's something, the wiring went off. I don't want to do this. This isn't right. It's just literally the soul says, nope, this isn't right, and won't come into the body.
Yeah, this isn't developing exactly how I wanted it to, and I'm not prepared to have this kind of life, essentially.
Mind-blowing stuff. Yeah. Your journey of your soul and what you get up to is things. Still one of the most fascinating that I do in the Akashic Records is researching a soul's journey for them and compiling these reports and then doing the 90-minute coaching call afterwards and connecting with the human they are, because we don't even know who you are until afterwards. And then we get to meet you. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it is so cool. And I mean, everyone we've talked to has just been like, holy shit, how do you know me this well? Okay, we should move on.
All right, so number 2, identifying past life traumas and healing limited beliefs. Exploring these things within the Akashic Records so you even know like where to put your focus. Sometimes we just know something's off, but we don't know why. We can't pinpoint it in our life, so we're not really sure where it came from. And when you're dealing with past life traumas that you carry over as a hangover in this lifetime, so it's a past life hangover. It's something that happened in another lifetime. It was left unresolved, so you couldn't deal with it properly, then put it down, and it comes into this lifetime. And this can cause a lot of overwhelm, emotional and mental like distress in your life, and using the Akashic Records to help identify these things or to explore, great fears that you have that make no sense. It might have been from a past life or something, but having an ability, a way to tap into everything that you are, your soul's record, and explore this stuff can help you find the awareness and to address them and to get healing, to effectively create healing within your life and a new belief or a new pattern, or at least healing the old one so you can step out of it and then create something new in your life. One personally for me that I wanted to share that I thought about, because, it's so vast what could be going on in your life, but I used to have this borderline immobilizing fear of heights. I would get in an elevator, a sealed-in building, we're totally safe, and just moving like that, up and down. If I wasn't taking stairs, it would freak me out to move upwards, to know I was going up. To drive a car or to ride in a car was even worse. But to be in a car
going over a bridge.
Going over a bridge, exactly.
You and your whole family are that way.
I know, but I would. Remember that? I would be like white knuckling, because you get to that point where you're climbing over a bridge and then all you can see is the horizon of the bridge in front of you and you can't see what's coming behind that. And for some reason, my unconscious mind was like, we're all just going to drive off and fall down into the water. Like, I couldn't consciously process that the rest of the bridge is there. Just keep driving, Maddie. You're totally going to be fine. You're just going over a fucking bridge. You know what I mean? Like, I would berate myself. Later, I'd be like, why did I freak out? Like, this is just, I don't know. This was creating trouble in my life. And exploring the Akashic Records led me to a past life, going into World War II on D-Day, jumping out of an airplane and dying in that experience. And yes, that is traumatic.
Yeah, you sugarcoated that.
Yeah, I sugarcoated that one, didn't I?
That's
Just
probably for the
dropped
best,
it out.
though.
And that's part of the Akashic Records too. The truth is just the truth of a situation, and I always find too when I'm exploring that it's not as emotional for me as obviously that was a crazy moment in a past life. But having that moment, it was never resolved. I had no understanding, you know what I mean? My body just did what it did and hit the ground, and that was that. But it stuck with me into this lifetime. But once I found that out and I had that awareness that it wasn't something that happened in my life, that I wasn't in danger in this life, that it was something that happened in the past, and I carried it over, it helped. Immediately I felt better. When I found out about this, we were staying in Florida at that 22nd floor. And I remember the first week we were there, I was terrified to be on that porch. And it was so comfortable. And the view of the ocean and sunsets were amazing. But I was complete terror to be there. Remember, I pushed the chair all the way back against the sliding glass door. The half there, I wouldn't let it sit like a foot away from it, like it was set up and stuff. And then I had this experience. And then immediately I could stand up and I held the railing really tight, but I could go to the rail and hold it and look out and look down and stuff. And then within a couple more months, I really don't experience...
We're climbing Bell Rock in Sedona.
Exactly. Hundreds of feet up, like doing crazy rock scrambling stuff. We went to Devil's Bridge in Sedona. Remember, like it's like 6 feet wide. You just floating around, if you just jumped off. And I just remember when I jumped down and like did push-ups and stuff and hopped back up, like, who am I? Like, it's awesome.
Well, I keep laughing because I'm like, and then you marry me. And I'm like, let's go to the top of everything. What are you talking about? I can totally look down. Look at those cars. Look at that. Look how tiny that tree looks.
And I was like, I'm going to be sick. I feel like a paper bag. It's just going to be like tossed around in the wind and flown about. Yeah. So that was something that having the ability to access the Akashic Records and explore this great fear of my life led me to find the higher awareness and heal it through that awareness, to let go of that energy that I'd been holding on to.
Yeah, and I feel like we've had lots of different podcasts about limiting beliefs and how, they really impact you in the now. I mean, if you're starting off with faulty wiring, if you come into this life thinking, I'm unworthy or I don't get to be happy, then just imagine how that will affect your entire life. So it's about really it's about really trying to heal those limiting beliefs and, so that you can have a better life now.
Yeah, there's a podcast show called Navigating Duality and Healing Limited Beliefs. And it's a deep dive into the subject of healing limited beliefs and dualistic thinking. And I like all our podcast shows, but that one I felt like we were just jamming with that one, with the information we dropped, for sure.
All right, so the third way, and this is a huge one, I feel like for a lot of people, something you can really learn in the Akashic Records is about your life and soul's purpose. And we've definitely talked about this before. Your life and your soul purpose isn't a career. It's more about these qualities that you bring into this life that you are meant to like play out and explore. And, this has been like huge for us, I feel like, because you learn about all these different qualities and then you want to try to make sure that you are expressing them in your life somehow. And I mean, these are very intricate qualities that you bring into this life to fulfill your life and soul's purpose.
Well, I feel like aligning with your soul's mission, your life purpose, and bringing that out into your life, that this alignment can bring about a sense of fulfillment and self-acceptance and ultimately strengthen your relationship with yourself. I mean, that's been my experience. Diving in and understanding more of not necessarily like what I wanted to do as far as my human brain's thinking of doing, but thinking of what my soul wanted to do and experience. And, like Emily said, bring these qualities in and share these and have these experiences within that has really helped me to just align more within myself and have that like more acceptance for what I've gone through, what I'm going through, what I will go through now that I have this perspective. It has effectively shifted that for me.
Definitely. And so just, as a small example of this, I mean, I guess it's a small example, although it's a big part of my expression as a soul, is studying emotions while in a human body. I mean, I found in my life between lifetime sessions that this is a big part of why I'm here. And it really corresponds to what I learned in my Akashic Records soul journey reading, because my soul originates in Spica, which is a star system that holds codes for enlightenment. And so a big mission of Spican souls is to understand how humans can reach that state. And, most of the time, it's not a pretty exploration. How does one reach enlightenment? It's not just like, oh, I'm here and I'm vibrating. It's like you come to Earth, you're in this body, and you're like, holy crap, I once knew what it was like to feel amazing, and now I'm in this human body. And so if you can think about it, enlightenment is when all of your chakras are fully receiving the energy from the Creator without any blockages. And so essentially when you come into your human form, due to the different lessons and the things that you want to experience, you are essentially formed, your chakras are essentially formed with these blockages so that you can attract these experiences into your life. When it comes to your life lessons, you don't have to do anything to create the situations around them happening, these themes are attracted to you because of the way that your chakras are created. And so, due to being from Spica, this essentially means that Spican lives here on Earth are very experimental, because think about, like, okay, for the search of enlightenment, what does that even mean? Does it mean, taking this, or does it mean doing that, or what experience, or what substance, or what, meditation, or what anything could possibly create that within a human body? And so that really resonates with me. I mean, my life has been very experimental, and that isn't always pretty.
Yeah, finding out this for myself as well, that this is something that Emily and I share as a life purpose and a soul mission. This deeply resonated with me. And for those of you that are into human design, I'm a 3-5 generator. So the line 3 is my conscious personality, which is all about experimenting and trying everything out to figure out what does work. So when I figure out what does, I know how to proceed forward. So my life has been about experimenting. So it was kind of neat to, find these things out and other layers to validate. In my Akashic Records, my soul originates in Vega. And the Vega star system experiences a more positive side of emotions being present, and not the deepness of the negativity side of emotions that we can experience here on Earth. But I also chose Spica as a second home for my formative incarnations. So when you're kind of setting your soul's personality from where your soul originates in the universe, you're going to have 10 or 15, 20 lifetimes in these places, and they really kind of set in with these energies, and that's innately in your soul. And most people have one, some have a couple of places that they'll choose to be built into their soul. And the second one for me was Spica, and that's where my soul and Emily's soul met, when I started to come there. And so I have that search for enlightenment hardwired into me here, and experiencing the wild range of emotions, the extreme polar opposites that we can experience here on Earth, was really important to our life's mission, and are trying to discover through experimentation how to achieve enlightenment as a human. And I can tell you that I've had moments that have felt enlightening, but I've really figured out way more ways not to become enlightened.
Oh, yeah, that's for damn sure.
So that's just a neat little thing to share with y'all that's a part of our soul's mission, is that experimentation and search for enlightenment here.
Yeah, this next one's a pretty fun one.
Ooh, yeah. Uncovering hidden talents and abilities. The Akashic Records can uncover your hidden talents and abilities, things that you may not be aware of. And recognizing and nurturing these talents, they can boost your self-esteem and your self-confidence. They can really promote more self-love and more acceptance for your gifts, for who you are, for, holy crap, I can do that. Let me experiment. Let me play with that. Wow, I really can do that. It can really just kind of, give yourself that little pat on the back, that little boost, that you're a badass. You got this stuff. For me personally,
So what are some of your hidden talents, Maddie?
I wrote down 2 to share. And one of the things that I've also explored was, intuitive strengths within the Akashic Records, and claircognizance, clear knowing.
Well, that's something we look into in the soul journey.
It is something that we do for you if you
readings,
want to have
for
a soul journey reading. Yeah, it's one of the most important sections is, hey, concentrate on these gifts. These are your strongest intuitive gifts and empathic gifts. But claircognizance was one for me. I wasn't really aware of this until I started my work in the Akashic Records. I had my reading and found out about it, but through my experimentation and working in the records and doing my research, I found out that, I was really trying to force clear writing. Yeah, just take a few minutes, sit in front of your computer, and just flow and type it out. And I always found this really difficult to do and get started. And then sometimes it could flow, and work, but I started to notice that when I'm asked a question, boom, I just get a quick download and can answer.
Gift of gab.
And yeah, and I started to play with this and realized that through the Akashic Records that my claircognizance is through speaking. That's the strength within it there. So taking my strongest intuitive gift and then fine tuning it by the research in the records and by going to the records and working on channeling information and playing around with that. And the other one was I didn't realize, like, I always knew that as a Reiki healer, I could hold a space and, could move some energy around, but I did not realize that I'm really freaking good at transmuting energies, at holding a space for, what I've been through in my life, I can hold a space for anything somebody's been through. I just have acceptance for the path you've been on, whatever you've done, whatever's happened to you. And transmuting energy is something it's a talent. I'm good at it. And I'm a catalyst for change in this world. I don't always know right away, but I'll find out later that my actions or words or just my presence had an impact on somebody. And it is something that I wasn't really aware of. I can look back at my past life and see those examples and, in some of the moments that somebody came to me later and, hey, you said this to me and, it kind of changed the way I thought and thank you for that. I never said anything then because I didn't realize in that moment that it changed me. But this is something that I wasn't aware of until I could play in the Akashic Records. And it's really cool to play with transmuting energy and, kind of being a catalyst for other people's change. I love it. So how about you, babe?
Yeah, so I wrote a couple down as well, and I thought it'd be really kind of interesting because since Maddie and I both are claircognizant, he was talking about having the gift of clear speaking. Well, that is definitely not the way my claircognizance works. I am definitely more of an automatic writer. And I think that's part of what he was talking about. Like, I can sit down and go to the records and ask a question and just type out some answer. And I can even do it for me personally and for Maddie. Just today I did an Akashic Tarot reading, and I've been practicing by not even flipping over the cards. I just channel the messages for each of the cards before I flip them over. And it's pretty interesting because it's actually helped me understand the cards and the vastness of their meanings way more.
Well, then
and it makes the reading way more powerful.
They're eerily, at times, accurate to kind of what the definitions within the books are talking about, where she'll literally channel a line that comes out exactly as the generic reading for anybody to work with. But the cool thing is Emily's channeling, and there's interpretations now, and we're learning so much more about this deck because now it's like, oh, here's some nuance that's even more personal to us, to me, to clients that Emily's done this for. This was an offer Emily did on the newsletter. This is why this has been happening here. So if you're on our newsletter, sometimes you get an invite to cool special little discounts and readings and whatnots that we're into. So
yeah, and actually this one is available for the rest of this month. So if this is something that you find interesting, it's an 8-card pyramid reading, and it's on special for $33. And I channel every single one of the cards before I even flip them over, and it's been really fun.
It's been super cool.
Fun and cool. And another hidden talent that I found out about that I didn't really recognize until I started working with the Akashic Records is how much I love doing research. I always kind of knew I liked research in some ways, but I love doing this whole research. And I learned that I am really amazing at finding patterns in a large amount of data. And I'm a master at finding solutions.
Yes, you are. You are so freaking good at that, baby.
And so that is something that I never really put together before I started working the Akashic Records. And it's been really cool to, find that out about myself and be like, holy shit, I am really damn good at this. But when it comes to something like solutions or channeling information, you don't really know. Like, I never knew that I was good at that because I never freaking tried it before. So it's been fun to play around with.
Yeah, our parents weren't instilling those potentials within our lives, for intuition and channeling, and
or at least did some.
Oh, that's super cool because that was nowhere to be found in my family line.
Actually, my mom taught me about pendulum use. She she would tie a piece of thread to like a needle, and she was like, look, actually about the chakras, she was like, look, if you hold it here, like over your belly, it spins. But I mean, she didn't know the word chakra, but she knew it as this is how you can tell how many children that you'll have.
That is so cool, baby.
And Nick and I, my brother, he and I used to think that we were telepathic. Like we would totally like go to separate rooms and try to read each other's minds constantly. So it was, somewhat. I don't have the words for it that I have today, but I definitely had some fun with those kind of things when I was younger.
Awesome. That's super cool to find out and know. You
Yeah,
may have told me that before, but it didn't stick if you did. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5 would be healing karmic patterns. Sometimes we choose to, or I shouldn't say sometimes, a big part of why we come, it's kind of built into everybody's soul purpose a bit, is healing work. And, we talked about past life traumas that came over. Sometimes it's not that we've experienced the trauma, sometimes it's karma balancing. It's something that we've done and we're on the other side of it, whichever side that is. And so we'll come to heal these patterns that have been present, and sometimes in many of our lives, or sometimes, because it's a limiting belief karmic pattern, or sometimes it's an action and we're coming to balance that action, or you're choosing to be a cycle breaker in your ancestral DNA lineage. Sometimes healing a karmic pattern and cycle breaking something can align and join up and be part of the same mission and not a separate thing. But you come to understand these patterns and work towards healing them, and it can lead to immense personal growth and self-improvement within your life, and like crazy energetic healing can take place when you can shift karmic patterns. A big one, huge part of my life, and definitely part of my soul's purpose as well, kind of talking about that topic that we were on a few moments ago. I went through a lot of childhood abuse from 3 to 10. Immensely. Finding out, working through the records. I have done emotional work. My memories were repressed till I was 30, and I did a lot of emotional work and emotional backlog, kind of working through things. But once I was able to research in the records and really get into the nuts and bolts of, one of those big questions that a lot of trauma victims have is, why me? Especially from childhood. Like, why did this happen? I was just a kid, why me? Why me? And that was every day. That was the loop that I was stuck in until I got into the records, and until I learned that going through this was about balancing a karmic pattern, one that I put into motion in a lifetime in Mesopotamia. And I put it in motion in my family's ancestral line. So this had been going on for thousands of years, something that my past life created, passed down through every other generation. And this is why I chose my particular parents, so I could be born into this and try to break this karmic pattern, to be a cycle breaker and to balance my own personal karma from this.
Yeah, but to be clear, it wasn't your parents exactly.
No, I'm talking about I'm just born into their ancestral line,
Yes.
lineage. This is why I chose my mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah, the things that happened to me came from a grandparent, a grandfather. But I chose them so I would have this opportunity because it was the same bloodline from the stuff that I started way, way, way back when in Mesopotamia. And sexual abuse had been passed down every other generation for thousands of years. And I came for the opportunity to put an end to it, to heal from it, to balance my own karma, and to stop it from moving forward in my bloodline anymore. Once I realized, it didn't make everything immediately better, but once I realized, it gave me a whole fresh new perspective on being a survivor of trauma. I came for this, I have survived this, now I'm going to heal this and stop this. It gave me a whole new level of self-confidence and bravery for why I came. The why me was actually, it was part of the plan, and that I was brave enough to come and to go through it. That blew my freaking mind because I'd always seen myself as less than or broken because this happened to me, and never because I was brave enough and strong enough to go through this and then shift this energy and stop
You are
this.
very brave, baby.
And that's just immensely healing in my life.
I feel like that's a really great segue for the next one.
Yeah, it is.
So the next one is promoting self-forgiveness and healing patterns of self-sabotage. I say it all fun, but it's not like that one's a really fun one. But basically, understanding the reasons behind your actions and decisions can really help you let go of regret and guilt, and really promote this self-forgiveness and foster a healthier relationship with yourself. And I mean, this really goes along right with Maddie. What Maddie was talking about is getting caught up in like feeling not good enough or lacking confidence or feeling unworthy or blaming other people or your parents for why you aren't more successful, more confident, more happier, or more fulfilled in the now. When you're out of the house, it's really up to you to choose to heal yourself and to have healthier patterns in your life. As hard as it can be, but that is, part of growing up and part of being an adult is, can you really stop the blame and take self-responsibility for your life?
That's exactly what I've been wanting to jump in and say right there is taking that self-responsibility gets you out of victimhood consciousness and blame and puts you in a more empowering place to affect change and transformation in your life, to actually have less of the bad. That's what most people want, is they want less bad in their life.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I can have more good. Like most of us that want change, we're not focused on the transformation and the good things that can happen. We're usually focused on, God, if I could just not feel this way or drop this, it would be so much better. But that's it. It's taking this responsibility to know that you're brave enough to go through whatever you're going through, or to have these beliefs, or to self-sabotage yourself so you can be aware and then make the change. You are empowered. You can be empowered if you don't feel empowered. It's part of your divine birthright.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think another thing is like we put it off. We're like, oh, when this happens, then I can finally be happy. Or, when I finally make this amount, then finally I'll be considered successful. But the thing is that if you can't consider yourself successful now, then you won't be able to do it then, because it's about the pattern that you have in your brain. It's about what you keep telling yourself over and over. And if you keep telling yourself, oh, you're not successful, oh, you have all this reason to regret all these decisions, then with that training, you're not going to be changing the way your brain works when you finally get to wherever it is that you want to go. You have to start that training now. And it is pretty crazy how you have to train the brain in order to think healthier, be healthier. It is very important.
And I just wanted to add one thing before we move on, that understanding that our souls chose to come for the experiences that we had, that we are having, that we will have, to learn about ourselves and grow. That really helped me with self-forgiveness and what used to be regrets in my life. I'd already been kind of using I didn't really feel that good about what I did, so I'll try to do better. I'd already had that around it, but I didn't forgive myself. And I still live with a lot of regrets. But working in the records and understanding that we came for this experience, that means everyone comes for the experiences. So I started to understand that, my actions were probably, even though I looked at it as something I was sorry about or a regret that I had, it was probably exactly what needed to happen. And it's helped me to, I'd already been trying to do better, but it's helped reinvigorate that I can do better. But it's let me be able to finally forgive myself and to let go of the regrets and not carry them around, not literally have a backpack full of regret anymore, because I was able to go, I came for experiences. Other people have come for them. I can do better. I am doing so much better in my life, but I can let go of that bag of regrets now. There's no need to keep punishing myself anymore. That's something that work in the Akashic Records has helped with.
Gotta give you a high five for that. Proud of you.
Thanks, babe.
You are so strong. And cute. Are you
I'm just
blushing?
reflecting your beauty back, and yeah, I'm probably as red as my water bottle here.
And this last one is something that we use the Akashic Records for all the time, is help with guiding in our spiritual growth.
Yeah, like on the daily, y'all.
Yeah, so the Akashic Records can really help guide a spiritual growth, providing you with wisdom and insights needed to evolve spiritually. This growth can lead to deeper understanding and accepting of yourself, as we have talked about in all the other examples, and healing your relationship with self, which we've also talked about in all the other examples. We use the Akashic Records all the time for guidance. We ask about everything, especially when we're really stuck. I mean, of course, there are times where it's just like, oh, yeah, I know that one, so I don't need the guidance. But, we can we get into the records and talk about the business, our relationships with family, friends, our relationships with each other, where to go next, the best people to get involved with as far as friendship, business.
House sits.
Yeah, house sits, like who, where's a safe place for us to go and take care of their home and their animals. And we've had a blast. I feel like we've done a really great job. The Akashic Records has helped tremendously with the guidance on these things.
We've been open-ended traveling since August 2021. And I figured, yeah, we were going to have some good stuff, and we were probably going to have some, oh my God stuff. It's like, what the heck happened? But
it's been pretty damn smooth.
It's been pretty damn smooth using the records to help with our decisions and making the choices.
And that's like driving places, flying places, doing all kinds of things, driving around the United States like multiple times.
Totally. Not just where are we flying, but out of what airport that we're going to be near to, which flight exactly, time frame for the smoothest trip through security and stuff. Yeah.
But then we always do the clearings, and we have like this process that, I feel like due to experimentation, we know that it has been very helpful. I think at this point we've tried it and worked with it so many times with the clearing and with the Akashic Records that we can say like, okay, yes, it is very helpful, and the techniques that we've used have been very useful and very beneficial. But it's also helped us with our personal relationship with our spirit guides. We've definitely talked about that. Like, neither one of us had any sort of conversation, one-on-one personal relationship with our spirit guides until we started working in the Akashic Records. That was a huge jump in our intuition and just in our life in general, to be able to call upon our Akashic Record spirit guides.
And it's just been really cool and fun. Yeah.
Well, getting to reconnect, because they're souls that we've known before. And so that's been really cool. But then since then, we've met other of our spirit guides, and it's like, holy shit. They all have different energy. They all have different strengths and gifts that, they're here to help us with. And it's just been pretty cool, because I kind of thought people that talked about that were crazy. But now I'm one of the crazy ones. Or one of the sane ones.
I don't know if I thought they were crazy, but I thought, they've walked a little too far down the ledge. And now I'm like pretty much pushing them even further. Now I feel like myself, like, okay, nope, I really do have a personal relationship with them. Okay, that's how that rolls. Cool. Emily mentioned clearings and stuff that we do. Like, we work with divine energy inside the records every time that we go, but also outside of the records, just in our normal daily life. And this has grown like our connection with the divine. Everyone's divine birthright to self-love and self-worth. That's every soul, but you got to cultivate it. So accessing divine energy in the records really helps cultivate that level of, yeah, I'm worthy to have the divine step in and help me out with this right here. I think a lot of people put something like that outside of their worthiness. Oh, if I do right, when I die, my soul, I'll get to experience the divine. Well, we're in a human body here, but you can work with divine energy. It's unlimited. It's amazing what you can do with transmutation, with clearing, with setting up boundaries, protections, with helping when you have travel plans to clear the path. If you can think about it, there's potential help working with divine energy. It's been amazing, and that was something that was nowhere on my radar until working in the Akashic Records came to be.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you're up to, you're more than worthy because you are divine.
Just because you are.
Just because.
Absolutely. Well, we've gone through our list of 7 ways that you can heal your relationship with yourself in the Akashic Records.
Yeah, this one's been really fun.
And the reason we wanted to do this is because we're launching our course March 13th.
313. That's
these
been
are
my
the
favorite number.
Yeah, 313. That has been a favorite number of yours for a while.
One of them, yeah, one of them.
That's partly why it was chosen. But if you're resonating with this and you see the benefits of learning to access the records, how it could be helpful to you, this is the kind of stuff we're going to be teaching you how to explore.
Yeah, this course is going to be badass.
You're going to get an attunement, a Reiki initiation to the energy of the Akashic Records and meet your spirit guides. We're going to be teaching you how to work with divine energy, how to clear energy, how to take charge of you and your family's energetic well-being. That's part of this. We want you to be able to navigate the astral realms and not pick up astral debris. I'm not sure how that word came out. I felt like I said debris. But we want you to avoid astral entities and debris.
But even more than that, we're going to teach you our step-by-step process on how to act. Like once you get your attunement to the Akashic Records, we teach you our step-by-step process to access the records anytime that you wish. Anytime during the day, the night, anytime that you possibly want, you will have lifetime access to this step-by-step process to access the records. We're going to talk about how to ask questions in the records, how to really understand and get the best guidance that you can. And we're teaching all this from all the experimentation that we've done over the last, 5 years now?
Yeah, 5 years. Hundreds of readings, thousands upon thousands of trips to the records and back just for personal use or with clients. It's going to be awesome, y'all.
Yeah.
We're super excited. So if you're vibing with this, there will be a form that you can fill out and we'll send you more information.
Yeah, but we're going to be getting more information up on the website really soon, and definitely subscribe to the newsletter because we're going to be sending out some information with that as well.
And you'll be keyed in on what's going on and, fun little other things that we're going to be doing in the future and whatnot. All right, y'all. So thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been a really fun one.
Yeah, I agree, babe.
Mwah!
We'll see you next week. Hey, soul friends. Thanks for listening to today's show. If you've been resonating with our podcast, Emily and I would be honored if you would share this episode with a friend. Or even better, share this episode on your socials and tag us at Soul Vibe Insights so we can connect with more amazing, like-minded souls just like yourself. Have a great day.